Aboriginal youth face many barriers on their journey to higher education. The result, just 9% of Indigenous Ontarians over the age of 15 have a university degree. 9%. For everybody else, it's 23%. For more on those barriers and what's being done about them, we are joined tonight by Donna May Kimilarchuk. She is a graduate of the University of Calgary School of Medicine, now a resident in cardiac surgery at the University of Ottawa. Brandon Barberstock, working on a bachelor's degree in First Nations Studies and Kinesiology at Western University in London. Darren Thomas, doing his PhD in Community Psychology at Wilfrid Laurier University. And Elizabeth McLeod, who's completing a master's degree in Kinesiology, also at Wilfrid Laurier. Really good to have you all here around our V-shaped table today, and I really look forward to getting to know more about all of you and your stories. I want to first, though, bring up some of the facts and figures about what we're going to be talking about today. Sheldon, if you'd bring this up, here we go. There are more than 300,000 people in Ontario, or about 2.4% of the province's population, that self-identify as Aboriginal. About 2/3 identify themselves as First Nations, almost 30% as Métis, and 0.01% as Inuit. A little bit more. 23% plus of Ontario's non-Aboriginal population, 15 or older, have a university certificate or degree, as we mentioned in the intro. Only 9% of Ontario's Aboriginals had a university degree or certificate. 31% of the province's Aboriginal population have no high school certificate, post-secondary diploma, or degree. In contrast, about half that, only 18% of Ontario's non-Aboriginal population have no high school, post-secondary diploma or degree. Now, let's explore part of the explanation why that may be the case. And to do that, I'm going to show a map, first of all, to find out, Donna, where you are from. Because I never heard of where you are from. This is something. You're an Inuit. Your family's originally from Chesterfield Inlet.
Yes.
Look how far Chesterfield Inlet is from the University of Ottawa, which is where you are right now. Tell us about Chesterfield Inlet.
It's a very, very, very small community in Nunavut. There's about 300 people that live in Chesterfield Inlet. I'm related to just about everyone because it's that small of a place. The closest town that would be near it is a place called Rankin Inlet. Some people might have heard of that.
You've heard of that.
Yeah, so it's just north of Rankin Inlet, about 6 hours by Skidoo or 3 hours by boat. Those are the best ways to get there.
You grew up there?
No, I grew up in Ottawa. I was living in Chesterfield Inlet for a very short period of time when I was young, but my parents made the conscious decision to move down south, as they would say it, for better educational opportunities for myself and my brother.
Okay, and so there's you, there's your brother, anybody else?
No one else.
And how have you found the experience so far at the University of Ottawa?
I love it. So I'm there doing my training in heart surgery.
You're going to be, can I say this? You are going to be the first ever female Inuit cardiac surgeon ever in Canada.
Yeah. Yes.
That's incredible. How does that sit with you?
It feels good. It feels kind of odd because I never really thought of myself that way. I'm just doing what I love and working hard. It's really long hours and really exhausting and stressful, so you don't really have the time to stop and think about that. But when I do it, it feels kind of weird, but it's exciting.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, Brandon, you ready? Your turn here.
Sure am.
You are from and have lived on the reserve of the Mohawks in the Bay of Quinte for 21 years. You're now at Western.
Mm-hmm.
There's the distance that you have traveled, not certainly as far as Donna May, but not a bad distance anyways. Tell me about your home of Tyendinaga.
Yeah, so Tyendinaga, it's Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's very woodland, so there's lots of forestry, good company, good people.
Any siblings, or is it you, or what
Siblings?
is it?
Yes, I have a brother and sister. I'm the youngest in the family, and yeah, I'm of the Mohawk Nation and Wolf Clan. My Mohawk name provided to me at birth was, or actually is rather, Arohiawarade, which means clouds crossing over.
Clouds crossing over.
Mm-hmm.
And is that why you were named that? Is that what was happening when you were born?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, let's find out more about you.
Sure.
Look at the map of where you're from. Let's bring this map up. Elizabeth is from, look at that, Moose Cree First Nation in Moose Factory, Ontario, which I believe is north of Steeles. I think it is north of Steeles.
Oh, okay.
You also grew up in Timmins as well.
I did.
How would you describe home for you?
Well, my parents did, much like Donna's parents, they moved to Timmins when I was 3 years old to provide me and both my brothers a better education opportunities. So Timmins is kind of that little city in the middle of nowhere. So people think like, oh, like how many people are in Timmins? I said, well, we still have 48,000 people. It's still a city.
That's a good size.
Yeah, but it's again in the middle of nowhere, right? So, but it's a different way of life. I like it. It's nice and slow.
And
compared to the
population
city.
of Moose Factory is what?
I'm gonna guess maybe around 5,000 now.
You're at Laurier now.
I am.
You
Yeah.
enjoying it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So I did my undergrad at Laurier in kinesiology, and now I'm doing my master's of science in kinesiology there.
Okay. Darren, your turn. Here we go. You're of the Seneca Nation, grew up in the Six Nations, the Grand River, the most populous First Nations reserve in Canada. You live there still, yes, and
Yes.
commute to Laurier from there,
Yes.
which is not a huge commute. How long does that take you?
Hour and 10 minutes.
Okay. Tell us about your home.
Grew up there most of my life. Traveled around a little bit when I did leave for university. 3 sisters and a brother, and also a father of 3 teenagers, 2 daughters and a son. And my son's going off to university this fall.
Are you first generation in your family to go to university?
No. Education's been in my family, but there's some interesting history there with the Indian agents and some of the settlement history. And the Indian agent actually went to my grandmother's house and told my father, you got to stop teaching them their language, and you guys should be going to school. And, so his older siblings, they didn't go; they went to work. But him and his brothers and sisters, they all became educators and went to university themselves. And
Can I just see a bit of a show of hands here? For how many of you was the notion of going to post-secondary, it was never a question? You knew from as early an age as you can remember you were going to do it. Hands up.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. You know that is not always the case in a lot of Indigenous communities, right? Where the notion of going to post-secondary is not something they grew up with. Why was it always going to be part of your life's plan, Donna May?
It was just so strongly advocated for by both my parents. My mother didn't go to post-secondary herself, and so that's something she really wanted for her children. And my father was the first one in his family to complete post-secondary, and he actually did it part-time when I was a very young infant. So they, I think, recognized the importance and just told me, it doesn't matter what you go and study, you just have to study something because it opens so many doors. And they really wanted me to have an easier life and an easier childhood upbringing than they did. So,
And more options.
yeah.
Gotcha. Brandon, how about you? Are you the first to go to university in your family?
Yes, I am.
You are?
Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. My sister is actually in university right now. She's in Montana. In relation to Donna's parents, were strong advocates in pushing me and my family towards education.
Liz, how about for you? Was there ever any question that you were going to go for some kind of post-secondary?
No.
Your
For me, it
parents
was
insist?
just, well, it was more just about like whatever you do that makes you happy, do it. Whether that was get a job after high school or go to school. But for me, it was just, I wanted to be successful. I wanted to go to school and get myself a post-secondary education. Both my parents are pretty educated. My father is now a supervisor in a mechanic shop and a heavy equipment mechanic for a mine in Timmins. And my mother is an executive director for a Timmins family health team, for a team of doctors. So seeing them kind of grow from the ground up is really inspiring and kind of just pushed me to follow my brother's suit into post-secondary education as well as my parents and kind of just make myself successful.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, Darren, I think they used to say on Sesame Street, one of these things is not like the others.
Right.
You're 46.
Yeah.
You're not the first-time student
That's
around
right.
here. You've been
That's
through
right.
this, but this is not your first rodeo, as they say.
That's right. That's right.
You, I guess in the 1980s, you went to university the first time?
Yeah. I left home. I went to Laurentian at the time. It was a Native Social Work program. I think they call it Native Human Services now. And I was successful there for my first year, but I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy the city of Sudbury. It was a little too cold for me. I get too used to the Southern Ontario winters we have, or non-winters. And so I moved home and transferred to Western. Unfortunately, while there though, very different time than it is now. And
That's what I want to ask you about.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of feeling welcome, in terms of its understanding of the needs of an Indigenous Canadian back in the 1980s.
Right.
Then compared to today, what would you say?
Well, I think the hardest part was, one, not seeing other brown skins around the campus. I was, you know, it was, I mean, just no other way to say it. It was a white campus with white professors.
As far as you knew, you were the only one?
There was very few around. I'm sure there were others, but it wasn't even safe to self-identify, to be open about your indigeneity.
Sorry, it was unsafe?
Yeah.
What was unsafe about it?
Well, students said, you know, you don't belong here. Professor tell me I had to stop thinking like an Indian. And yes. And
You had a professor say you got to stop thinking like an Indian. What did
Absolutely.
he mean? He or she? What,
it was a he.
what do you mean by that?
Well, everything, so I was in sociology and I was writing, going through all the social theory, but how I understood social theory and how it applied in my community, how would I interpret these theories from my perspective. And he was throwing this out and saying, failing me and saying, this is garbage. How can I mark this? I don't know what your community is like. I don't know what your people are like. This is garbage. Stop thinking like an Indian. And I left because I knew I wasn't going to stop thinking that way, because I recognize as an Indigenous person today, I'm very, very privileged because I'm 3 generations removed from Indian residential school. So I grew up going to ceremony, I grew up hearing the language, I grew up absolutely intact in my culture, in my identity. And when I encountered that, I just absolutely knew this wasn't a place for me.
Now, it's interesting because geographically, you're not that far away from Western University, right? Where you grew up. I mean, it's a stone's throw.
That's right.
And yet, it felt like a different world?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was such a tremendous change from a community of support and love and nurturing and taking care of everyone to a place of trying to survive, you know. And certainly, I mean, there were other friends I made there, but interestingly enough, they were people of color. So they were going through the same thing, even though they were Korean or international students or Jewish students. You know, we just felt like, you know, we weren't part of the main establishment there, and they made us feel like we weren't welcome. So I don't think any of us finished. I know I left right away, and I don't think any of them finished there either. So.
Elizabeth, tell us about the biggest fears you might have had on the first day that you found yourself at Wilfrid Laurier.
For me, it was going from a very small city in the middle of the bush to a bigger city in the middle of other cities. That was just like, there's so many people here. I don't recognize anybody down the street.
Bit of a culture shock?
Quite a bit of a culture shock, I'd say, yeah. So for me, it was kind of like not knowing anybody and not having somebody to go visit to or have a cup of tea in the afternoon was kind of just like, that was shocking to me. It's just me, myself, like Darren said, you know, not many people that looked like me on campus. Whereas back home, a lot of people are Aboriginal. So that was hard to take in.
How'd you get over that?
I kind of just, for a while, buried my nose in my books because I realized I'm here for a reason. This is what I'm doing. I'm getting myself an education. I'm going to be successful. So being lonely, I kind of just did my own thing and focused on my studies a lot. And then eventually found the Aboriginal Center near the end of my first year and kind of found like my home away from home. So they kind of took me in and told me, you know, these are the services offered for you. We're inviting you into our culture as you bring your culture to us.
Donna, did you have now, before, you're at Ottawa now,
Yes.
but you were at Queen's before that?
I was at Queen's for my undergraduate degree, and then I went to Calgary for medical school. Now I'm in Ottawa for
You're at your
residency.
3rd post-secondary institution.
Yes.
Not bad. An Aboriginal Student Center at one of your previous universities?
Yes.
Which
so,
one?
At Queen's University. That actually played a huge role in my life. It actually was one of the attracting factors to go to Queen's as well, because they had sent me a little package when I applied to Queen's University with information about the Queen's Native Student Association and the 4 Directions Aboriginal Student Center. And I thought to myself, wow, like these are people who really care and they want me to feel part of the community and feel welcomed. And that was just, like Liz says, like my home away from home. I had tremendous amount of support there where I felt safe that I could, you know, talk about issues that perhaps non-Indigenous students or students that are not of color have, and we can talk openly and freely about that.
Tell me how this is different, because you will not be, none of you here will be the only people at your universities who in some cases have to travel great distances to go somewhere else. The culture shock may be different. How significant is that in terms of your trying to figure out your way through a post-secondary world?
It's really significant, I think. For some people, I think it's too much too. Like, it can force people or really discourage them from pursuing post-secondary. But it's really about finding a safe environment or a new sense of community and home where you can feel that you can be yourself and be surrounded by other people that are like-minded. So it's unfortunate that maybe not everyone has that ability or can find a place like that, but without that sense, it can be such a huge deterrent for individuals to pursue education.
Brandon, did you ever feel lonely when you were going to university?
Yeah, like especially like going to Western, like this was going to be a far off location for me. My first step was college, so that was very close. That was in Belleville, so that was like a 20-minute drive from my home of Tynenaga. And so that was like a 20-minute drive in comparison to almost like a 6.5-hour drive, depending on traffic. It could be 3.5. But it was very much a struggle as a sense of belonging, And so what really sparked me and to overcome that was through sports. And lacrosse was my go-to. And to know that field lacrosse is being offered at Western, again, the color purple, and that color is medicine as well, right? Within our people, the Haudenosaunee. And so I wanted to go there for that reason and for that purpose, and to also get that education to better myself and those around me.
Liz, what'd you do to try to conjure up images of home when you were away at school?
I guess back home I would do a lot of hunting and fishing. So for me, like,
Can't do much of that in Kitchener-Waterloo.
No, I can't. So I couldn't do that. But when my parents would visit and I'd come back down south, I would actually just freeze meat and then bring it home. So then having like a good home hearty meal of like moose meat and onions was amazing to me. I was just like, this feels like home, even though there's nobody here that's from home. I'm home in this dish. Yeah.
Did you share any moose meat with
Absolutely
anybody else?
not.
You did not?
No.
You don't think they'd get it?
No.
That's your thing.
No. Yeah, that's my thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. Let's, Sheldon, can we bring these numbers up here? We want to show some numbers now that will contrast Aboriginal people living on versus off reserve. So far, we've been talking about Indigenous people compared to the rest of Canadians, but here, let's show some of these numbers here. Reserve education. In the year 2011, 16% of Aboriginal people in Ontario lived on reserves. 9 in 10 non-Aboriginal have graduated from high school. 7 in 10 First Nations living off reserve have graduated from high school, so a lot less. In stark contrast, only 4 in 10 First Nation young adults living on reserve have graduated from high school. So we've got 9 of non-Aboriginal, 7 in 10 First Nation living off reserve, 4 in 10 living on reserve. 40% of reserve schools have fewer than 50 students. More than half have fewer than 100. Some schools have fewer than 5 pupils. Okay, let's talk about, this raises a lot of pretty profound questions, I think. Darren, I'll start with you about how well equipped reserve schools are at preparing Indigenous Canadians for the post-secondary world. What do you think?
Well, there are so many things we don't have the time to unpack it all, right? But you have chronic underfunding for the schools on the reserve. So the quality of education they're getting, even though they might be purchasing provincial curriculum guidelines, the quality of the is just not there. And the drive for many students on the reserve as well, in terms of what opportunities are there for them. And if they're from basically the more remote you go, the fewer those opportunities are even imaginable.
Did you feel ill-prepared as a result of your elementary and secondary school to go to university?
Not so much with secondary, but certainly the transition from grade 8 to grade 9, because we had, at the time, we've got a high school now, but at the time we didn't. I had to go to high school off the reserve. But I was terribly unprepared for grade 9 because I felt like I didn't know anything, and the teachers were reviewing in the subjects the first month of school, and I'm like raising my hand, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And the teacher's like, they teach this in grade 6. And I'm like, I've never heard this stuff. But again, I'm very different. My friends will always tell I'm very different, and I'm stubborn, and I'm resistant, and I'm resilient. And so I said, okay, I'll be darned if I want to sit in class and feel dumb. So I made the teacher teach me. And I said, I need to get caught up.
And did you?
Absolutely.
You got caught up.
Absolutely. But I had to do
Through
the
your
actual
own-
work. Yeah. And I think that's where so many other Indigenous students don't have that drive because they're made to feel dumb, so they don't want to sit there. Nobody likes to feel like that, so why would they? So they skip class, or they tell the teacher off to get a suspension or whatever. And so
They fall farther and further
we
behind.
get caught in that, right? So
Brandon, how about you? Your elementary and secondary education, how well did it prepare you for a post-secondary world?
Like again, it's really matches well with Darren. From the transition from going in from grade 8 and then into 9, there was a bit of a struggle. Some courses were even really introduced to me like during the public school, and going in it was a bit of a struggle. But then afterwards, again, just pounding the pavement, just sticking with it, and again, not feeling dumb. To know that you can succeed to something that you can amount to be.
This is 2011, the last year for which we have numbers available. Aboriginal employment rate. First Nations off reserve, 52.6% of the people are employed. First Nations on reserve, look how this number plummets, 35.4%. For Métis, it's approaching 6 and 10, a little over. For Inuit, less than half. For non-Aboriginal, everybody else, so to speak, the employment rate, 61% plus. Okay, let's get into some discussion about this. Donna, to you first. Donna May, do you see yourself going back to, I guess ever going back to your original community once you get your studies all said and done?
So this is something I thought about. Unfortunately, being a heart surgeon, I'm kind of confined to a big city, just because that's the population that I need to support my work. But it was something that I struggled with as a medical student, kind of feeling guilty that I didn't want to practice family medicine, that I couldn't be able to go back up north to Nunavut and work, front line with my people and my culture, my communities. I spoke with a couple people about it, and they just encouraged me that you have to do what you love, and by doing that, you are going to be able to affect people positively, even if it's not frontline in Chesterfield Inlet, Nunavut. By doing what you love and pursuing that, it'll help other people in other ways. So
You'll certainly be a role model for sure.
That's what people are telling me. Yeah.
Well, I think you will. In case people tune in late, you're going to be the first female Inuit cardiac surgeon in Canadian history.
Yes.
In when? 3 years when you're done?
4 years.
4
yeah.
years?
Yeah.
In 4 years. You check back in with us at that time, okay?
Sounds good.
And don't flunk any courses, because we want to make sure in 4 years you're good to go.
Okay, sounds
Promise?
good. Yes.
Okay, good. Darren, how about you? What does the future look like for you in terms of where you want to do, what you want to do when you graduate?
well, all my research is all community-based, all Indigenous-based. I'm looking at working with communities and asserting their Indigenous rights and resource governance. A lot of the issues that are continuing to happen throughout Canada is resource extractive industries and helping communities with the science of technology, engineering, economics, and the legal to go through their negotiations.
Liz, how about you? What does the future look like for you?
Right now, I'm not really sure. Yeah, so after my master's degree, I figured I'd have my life all set out, but I don't. But I think that's okay. I think for now...
It's definitely okay.
Yeah, no. For now, I think I just want to get some work experience. I had considered doing a PhD starting in September, but I'm a little tired. I've never taken a year off school yet, so I kind of just want to get some work experience under my belt. And take a little me time after all this education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brandon, how about you?
Yeah, I'm looking at pursuing a Master's of Education to go into teaching.
Where would you do that?
Where? I'm looking at probably Western or possibly Laurier. Come hang out with these guys. Yeah, wish to teach and like Intro to Canadian History.
How much pressure do you feel to sort of return to a reserve and do what you do there?
It's mostly like for me, it's more of giving back. You know, they're helping to support me through education. The least I can do is to come back and to help them. You know,
So that is the plan?
that's the plan: is to come back to Tananaga and to teach and help and to bring about awareness of of promoting education, as well as what you can achieve your dreams and to never give up. And you can be passionate about doing what you love doing. So in my case, you can be involved with sports, you can be involved with social gatherings, big drum, water drum, and being grounded. And that's very, very impactful for me.
Darren, I have heard some Indigenous Canadians observe the following, that because you leave, and you go off and get very well educated. In your case, you're going for a PhD. Some begrudge you that. Some don't like it.
Right.
You're entering the white man's world.
That's right.
You're abandoning us. You hear any of that?
I have, certainly in my lifetime. But again, the Haudenosaunee are very, very different because we actually had some knowledge holders in our history tell us we should avoid a white man's education because it changes who you are. Right? And we had these prophets say it's going to take you away from your duties, your responsibilities, your obligations. And when you consider and imagine that we had people that were educated ancestrally, our chiefs and went to get an education and these people, but when they returned to the community, they were a burden to community because they couldn't partake in ceremony. They were asked to sing a song. Well, I don't know that song. You know, I go and hunt. I don't know how to hunt. You know, so they got disconnected from who they were ancestrally. And that was always the question of where do we fit in this world?
Have you ever felt disconnected?
Well, absolutely.
You have?
Absolutely, because I know I have obligations in community. I know I have duties and responsibilities to my community. But I have timelines and deadlines at the university and, you know, so I have to sacrifice. I would love to be working 100% full-time in my community. Even though we are a large community, we've got great infrastructure, there are a lot of social needs there. And when I left university, the first time when I left Western, that's what I did. I dedicated my life working for my community, doing a lot of health promotion programs, stay in school programs, prevention programs, all based on my traditional knowledge. And so when the opportunity to pursue graduate school, you know, I've had to sacrifice that connection to community. And it's delayed my graduate work because there are times when I say, I need to be home. I have those obligations.
But there are times, I gather, that you don't feel as plugged into home as you would like to be.
Absolutely.
Do you also feel, though, given what your education is going to be, do you feel, how much responsibility do you feel to teach Indigenous languages to, now when I say Western universities, I don't mean the Western university that he's attending, I mean Western universities in general.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, and I think this is one of the things, too, that's really evolved within our post-secondary institutions now, is within my lifetime, you've seen this paradigm shift within the institutions, in where I was at one where they said, okay, stop thinking like an Indian, and to where now in my studies at Laurier, I'm able to introduce Indigenous thought, Indigenous philosophy, and how we know and understand the world, and where in the past I was failing, and now I'm getting A's for doing that same thing, right? Because it's about, we've seen this evolution of our institution saying, okay, maybe there's more than our understanding here. Maybe Indigenous people had found a way to live and exist for the thousands and thousands of years that we were here before contact. And I think that's where you're seeing this now evolve within the academy of doing Indigenous science, Indigenous ways, and Indigenous theory, and understanding that we weren't just historical people, but we're current now, and our knowledge is just as relevant today as it ever was ancestrally.
Liz, do you ever feel disconnected from home?
Definitely, yeah.
Still.
So, well, because at home you have a lot of the bush surrounding the city, so you take a half an hour drive and that's what we did, right? And that's what we still do. A lot of our traditions lie in hunting and gathering, so fishing and hunting and getting together for our family, having a full day cookout kind of thing. And I don't get that at all here, which is unfortunate, and just kind of I miss home a lot because of it. So that's why I say I bring meat down south, and I kind of just get that little taste of home.
How much curiosity is there about you, your background, your customs, from non-Aboriginal students that you go to school with?
I've had quite a few questions, as you know, like, you look something, what are you? And
You look something, is that what they say?
Yeah. Or they'll ask me if I'm Native, and I say yes, obviously, and then respond accordingly. But they'll ask me about my culture, and I'll just educate them based on what I know and kind of where I'm coming from and what I'm learning from different cultures here, because everybody's different. So for me, that big culture shock was going from what I knew and what I did day in, day out to coming here, and they had so much culture, but it was so different to what I knew. So that was a big learning curve for me, but now I'm kind of just taking this holistic approach and kind of listening to all these people, where they come from and what their traditions are, and just accepting them for who I am, and then bringing myself to them through respect.
So you're a student, but you're actually, funnily enough, doing a lot of teaching while you're a student.
I guess.
I guess you are.
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way.
Well, you
more
should.
about just educating people from where I come from.
There you are. Yeah. There you are. Donna Mae, same kind of thing to you. I mean, I know you grew up kind of basically like a suburban kid in Ottawa, like anybody else, but do you ever feel sort of disconnected from where you're from?
I definitely do. And I also struggled with a bit of that guilt that I kind of had the privilege of having all my education in the South. So the transition to university wasn't as difficult as it would be someone coming from up north. So I definitely feel disconnected when I meet younger kids now in high school from up north who are wanting to pursue post-secondary. And they maybe ask for my advice, and I can't really help them out because I don't have the same experiences they do. So I definitely do feel some disconnect.
Let me follow up with you on this. Here, just a few notes here. This fall, all undergrad students at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay and the University of Winnipeg are going to be required to take a 3-credit course in Indigenous culture or history in order to graduate at Lakehead and at University of Winnipeg. The Ontario government has said that the Ontario's faculties of education are now required to provide mandatory content that includes First Nations, Métis, and Inuit histories, cultures, perspectives, and ways of knowing. And I wonder, Liz, let me start with you on this one. I wonder whether you think that will make the idea of going to university and the environments on these so-called Western universities more welcoming to Indigenous Canadians.
I think it'll make people definitely more aware, because as of right now in our education systems, they are taught some Native and First Nations history, but it's definitely just the very, very surface of what's going on, and they don't know a lot of current issues that are going on, or even the real truth that what has happened in our past, and all of colonialism, and what are the real things that actually happened to our communities, and each and every one of our communities was affected differently, but on a very big scale.
Darren, what kind of impact can that make?
Well, I think it has potential for good and a lot of bad, actually.
What's the bad?
Well, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of students are resistant to wanting to learn this stuff. I mean, we have to unpack. There's a lot of racism still that exists in Canada. There's a lot of misinformation and stereotype. And even some of the classes that I've taught in wanting to teach this content, students really push back.
I note the University of Saskatchewan's College of Medicine now reserves 10% of its first-year spaces for Indigenous Canadians. Med schools at the University of Alberta and UBC set aside places for Indigenous applicants. And I wonder if you think this is the right approach to take in order to get those numbers up.
I think it is, yeah. And there's a few other universities that I know that set aside a certain percentage of seats as well. And, maybe it's not the perfect solution. Maybe other panelists here might have different solutions, but I can't think of any others at this time. So I think it's at least one way to help facilitate Indigenous learners who want to go to medical school to go. So I'm a supporter of it.
Gotcha. We wish you all well, and we thank you all for taking time away from your studies to be with us here today. Brandon Barberstock at Western University, Elizabeth McLeod at Wilfrid Laurier University, and Donna Mae Kimilarchuk, University of Ottawa. Still got 4 more years there?
4 more years.
4 more years. Oh, it's a long way. And Darren Thomas at Wilfrid Laurier University. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Help TVO create a better world through the power of learning. Visit supporttvo.org and make a tax-deductible donation today.